If you had the opportunity to say something to the people at the Central Intelligence Agency who financed this study, what would you say?
I realize the CIA is a very important organization and they have a very important job to do. But God, it surely doesn't have to be done on people who are totally incapable of knowing what's happening or having any defense against it. And I can't imagine the mentality of people who would do this. I just can't.
Dinner in Hell Band!
Oh my God! Deafening.
They're just kicking ass, man.
Just deafening enough to where it doesn't really hurt our ears.
I can feel my brain melting out through my ears right now. Welcome back for another exciting edition of the Dinner in Hell podcast, the show where two amateur historians talk about the atrocious underbelly of history. I am one of your co-hosts, Brad the Impaler, and with me, as always, the realest motherfucker on the planet, Ron Maiden.
Yeah, Ron, the original.
What's happening, man?
Real, genuine, birth-given name, Ron Maiden.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
look full of vim and vigor today.
Oh, man, I ran here from the bus stop. But, yeah, I ran here from there. Oh, my God. Frickin' today's episode, which happens to be our 55th, and for our neighbors to the south, that'd be your Cinco.
Cinco.
El Nino. But,
Cinco, maybe?
Cinco de Cincuente.
I don't think that's
like
right.
5 of 50.
Cinco y cincuenta. I know
Like-
German. In German, you
like-
do the second
Oh.
number first.
Listen, in Spanish, if it was 22, it'd be like 22.
Yeah, so then it'd
So
be,
it'd be like
cincuenta
Cinco.
Cincuenta
Okay,
cinco.
welcome.
Welcome to Spanish.
Welcome.
Extremely basic Spanish, probably wrong hour.
How do you say dinner in Spanish?
I can't remember.
We could be like dinner in Inferno.
I don't know.
Welcome to Dinner in Hell. If you're still with us, we're going to get moving on here. Today, we're going to talk about mind control.
Yeah, mind control sounds like it's not actually history, but it is. And it's history right here in the good old United States of America.
We do record this program in the United States. That our loyal listeners should know that.
Mm-hmm.
We're an American program, but we're international.
And that mind control program that we're going to be discussing today is called MKUltra.
Which, thanks to Google, told me that at least 2 bands out there figured that was a cool original name idea. Thanks, Google.
Yeah, you definitely, it's pretty badass sounding to me anyway.
Check it out. We're called MKUltra. Look it up. Like we're called MKUltra too. We know what it means.
Yeah.
Dick.
What if they were on the same bill?
I know. MKUltra North. Well, I want to welcome our conspiracy fans that might be checking us out for the first time. We've had a few we've touched on some conspiracy. We've dipped our toes in it in the past, and this may get some conspiracy listeners because of it's not really conspiracy. It's factual shit, right?
Yeah,
it's documented things.
There's if you research this on your own, which I do recommend because it's pretty fun. There's a lot of stuff out there that may not be super accurate information. Like, for example, I don't necessarily think aliens were in the mix here.
Okay. We're not going to talk alien shit.
Yeah,
We're
and
talking documented stuff.
as far as conspiracy theories go, the ones that I usually look into at the very bottom of it, it's just blaming stuff on Jews. So we're not going to do that today either.
Hey, I'd like to know real quick, what's your favorite conspiracy thing to like go to? If someone brings up conspiracy, what's your like, Oh, dude, you know about this? Like, you know about the FEMA camps with all the plastic coffins?
Oh, my favorite.
What's your favorite?
Is the aliens. That like there's like secret contact between the government and these aliens. Some are
Currently?
nefarious. Yeah, like the reptiles and shit.
Oh, I thought
like prominent people are secretly these ancient reptiles. It's total nonsense. It's great. It's so much fun.
you ever seen the one where they show the giant man sitting in the chair and like, oh, and if he was to stand up, his size would be 20 feet tall. Well, these other like Egyptians are like normal size.
Yeah.
Like the man in the chair, if he stood up.
Yeah, like the ancient aliens type shit. That's a lot of fun.
Like we're crossbred. Yeah. Mine's always Denver Airport. That's my thing. I'm like, check out Denver Airport mural, bro. Why'd they build a new one and the other one was fine?
Yeah, that's
like, why is this shaped like a swastika? Didn't we bring that up on a show? I think we did.
So, yeah.
Early in our career.
Yeah.
Okay, so
well, specifically,
welcome.
Yeah, this everything you're going to hear today is, to the best of our knowledge, 100% fact, verified by internal Office of Strategic Services, the OSS, which later became the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. These are we know this from their own documents. So take from that what you will. Everything in here is going to be, well, at least to the best of our knowledge, correct.
Also,
and true.
Firsthand tales from victims that were subjected to it.
And perpetrators.
Mm-hmm.
These tests, when were they going off? They started in the 1950s and went on until at least the 1960s, involving non-consensual participants, drugs, and in some cases torture. Now, how did we find these CIA documents, you may ask? Well, after the Watergate investigation, the United States citizens were rightfully paranoid about the covert operations of their government. All of the documents concerning the MKUltra program had been ordered to be destroyed, but a few forgotten boxes were eventually discovered.
By the Dinner in Hell team.
What
we're about to tell you, what you're about to listen and about to hear. All the conspiracy videos have like this music in the background.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, if our team can come up with the music, please lay it down. What you're about to hear, the following information. There's a little known fact that this MKUltra program was inspired by the movie Firestarter, starring Drew Barrymore, where she could start fires with her mind. That was the ultimate goal of the MKUltra program.
That was part of it.
It's conspiracy shit. So, July 1945.
Yes, America and the other allies, like the Soviet Union, had begun to recruit former Nazi scientists to defect to their countries. They would give them new, clean identities and allow them to continue their research.
Was this Project Paperclip?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figured.
So called because it was named after the action of paper clipping a new identity to them.
Your new name? It's not Boris anymore. It's not going to be freaking Klaus anymore.
Munster.
You're Jim now? Franchisee.
Yeah, hi, I am Jim Johnson of originally Syracuse, New York.
Give him a Latin name. Your name is Nicholas Delgado, senor. Now get out there. You're no longer German. Change your accent.
So among more than 1,000 such individuals recruited through Project Paperclip were several prominent medical researchers. Now, they brought data from experiments conducted during wartime with them. We're talking people who were convicted of war crimes at the Nuremberg Tribunal. It doesn't matter that you committed war crimes. We're frightened of the Soviet Union now, so you just come be an American.
We want you to help us make the perfect soldier.
Yeah, and I mean, helping the Americans create a super soldier sounds preferable to hanging to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll let you pick your name. Dude's got a bunch of basketball cards. I want to be named John Stockton.
Yeah, my name is Fatty Lever.
went fat lever. My name's Purvis Ellison.
Mein Name ist Pistol Pete Maravich.
My name's Otis Thorpe now. Houston Rockets power forward from the 80s. He could palm 2 basketballs with one hand, that dude.
Ja, ich bin a Roy Rogers.
2 balls. That'd be crazy. Hand so big you can palm 2 basketballs with one hand.
Yeah, and these guys, I mean, these doctors they were bringing in, these Germans, they may not have been the greatest athletes, but since they're German, you know the fundamentals are there. You know their mid-range jumper is going to be solid. You know they're going to hit free throws.
Oh, you're talking FIFA rules basketball now?
Yeah.
I thought you were getting back into I thought we were back into Project Paperclip. You tricked me.
All right, so let's go to January 1952.
Project Artichoke.
Well, it's always listed in all caps, so I always want to go Project Artichoke.
Yeah. Don't yell it at me. I got headphones on.
Well, this was enacted at the CIA with the following driving question. And this is a quote. This isn't me talking. Can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature, such as self-preservation? Ladies and gentlemen, the United States government.
They would...
Freedom.
Let's talk about examples like your natural instinct. You have a gun aimed at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know you shouldn't shoot this person because it would kill them and it'd probably make a huge mess.
Oh, also, the way I read it is like creating a suicide bomber that doesn't want to do it but will anyway.
And then back to my version, that thought goes away and they can just kill him like they don't give a shit. But you just took it dark and made the person a fucking time bomb slave, mind slave.
Either one of those.
Thanks for bringing me down, man. God damn it.
Every once in a while, it gets real here on the show. That's why we keep the tissues out. A whole lot of love in this room, though. Listen to the audience giving you their support.
Thanks.
We love you.
Thank you.
Now, how this worked out was what the CIA would do was conduct both foreign and domestic tests involving some of the following: LSD, hypnosis, forced morphine addiction and withdrawal, and attempting to produce vulnerable amnesia in subjects.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Real good on people who didn't know what they were getting into and did not agree to be part of it.
Was there not a Drew Barrymore movie where she couldn't remember the day before that day, like 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
I mean, Drew Barrymore is all over this thing, guys.
Yeah, 50 First Dates is absolutely based on MKUltra.
She was a victim.
They cut that out of the credits, and there's a couple deleted scenes that show her getting...
Hey, you know how they make a video of like Meet Jack? It's like The Shining but happy.
Yeah,
we should make like the dark MKUltra 50 First Dates. Be like, what's wrong? And she's like crying, you know, like cut to it. Like so,
it would
like
be like all dark.
Just edit scenes to make it look like she was like abducted, mind controlled up. Yeah, Drew Barrymore. If you don't know who she is, you should look her up. She's an expiring actress from America.
Expiring.
LSD, hypnosis, forced morphine addiction, and withdrawal. Explain the addiction and withdrawal? They would just juice them up.
You say, I've got you captive.
Right.
I just snatched you up off the streets or something.
Like you don't have me captive.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm Brad's captive.
Ron
guys.
Maiden's a free man.
Yeah, I don't live. I am always here.
He's not trying to blink, help me, and Morse code to the audience or anything every week.
I have a large dog cage I sleep in. He lets me.
There's enough room for him to turn around.
I have a futon cushion in there. I pissed it.
Yeah, so had I, in reality, did have you captive, what that would mean is I just inject you with morphine until you're addicted to it. See what kind of effect that has on your mental capacities. I might torture you with, maybe I won't give you the morphine. Maybe I'll let you have these withdrawals.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And then see how that affects your mental state. Any kind of way they could break you down, destroy your personality, that they could write over it.
You become Deadpool.
Yeah.
Your skin's all melted.
Well, I don't know if it would affect your skin.
You start regenerating limbs that you lose.
That would be fun.
Like in a day.
It comes out a little baby hand.
He like cut off his leg or his hand. And his hand was doing the middle finger.
That was a good movie.
Deadpool. That was like the #1 selling rated R movie after like Hangover 2, I think was the leader.
Yeah, probably until it, probably.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, now you may be wondering, who do they test this shit on? Well, they chose subjects for testing based on who they felt was inferior or weaker. And in the eyes of 1950s United States government, those were homosexuals, racial minorities, and also military prisoners. You know, basically, it was initially a small-scale test of a much larger kind of structure because they would do other shit, too, like just randomly dose people. It was very widespread
like
all around the world and shit, too. Yeah.
Nightclubs.
Oh, yeah.
Later on, they had safe houses where they would hire prostitutes to lead Johns back. They would drug them, and then they would observe them. Yeah.
And, you know, the reason that they felt like these tests were so necessary is that they feared that the USSR, China, and the DPRK had the ability to brainwash or mind control prisoners.
Explain what the DPRK is for people that might know.
DPRK is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which you may more often hear referred to as North Korea. And in the 50s, this is Korean War territory. So prisoners were coming back from Korea saying, like, you're the assholes, Korea is dope. And they were like, fuck, like, they're mind controlling our people, so we got to be able to do it too.
Oh, POWs were coming back?
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, you guys blow. North Korea, awesome.
Yeah, you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing over here. You got to get your shit together.
You need to get in line with Supreme Leader, follow the true, correct Zhush ideology.
You got to see him play golf. Guy does friggin' eagles after
off the
eagles.
back of a unicorn.
Oh, my God. No shirt. He'll do like 700 push-ups, get up, do like 4 holes in ones. Garden full of 4-leaf clovers.
Unreal. King among men.
Oh, dude saw a triple rainbow. He was telling me all about it. He saw a triple rainbow one day, he told me.
Yep.
Triple.
So, triple.
3. That means 3.
Incredible.
For Spanish, tres. Spanish listeners. International.
Yeah, so with the Cold War firing up, squaring off against Joseph Stalin over there in the Soviet Union, they decided to turn up the heat, and CIA Director Alan Welsh Dulles sanctioned the project fully, turning Project Artichoke into Project MKUltra.
Which is in all caps.
Yeah, always all caps.
Thanks for not yelling it. I appreciate that. MKUltra.
Now, the stated goals of MKUltra included influencing or drugging and controlling foreign leaders. One early and often target was Cuba's Fidel Castro.
Were they trying to drug him through his food, or were they trying to get agents to get in and like drug him?
I think both, probably.
I thought they were trying to drug his food.
Yeah, the CIA attempted over 600 assassinations of Fidel Castro, and he lived to 90.
Wow.
Died on his own terms.
He's like hanging out with Obama. Obama's visiting him and shit, right?
Yeah, well, he was good friends with like Malcolm X.
Have a cigar, man.
Yeah, he regularly spoke on human rights at the United Nations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Castro. Thanks.
You know, achieved near 100% literacy, recovered from the latest hurricane almost immediately.
He brought good things to the nation of Cuba. Some people think he didn't, right? Is it controversial?
Some people think he didn't.
The MKUltra, they wanted to develop a truth serum.
Oh, that was definitely a goal of the program. Now, they could have used this to create sort of a Manchurian candidate.
I was going to tell you, I never seen that movie, so maybe I should have watched it, but I don't know that movie. I know there's a movie, Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, well, I believe recently we discussed our shared admiration for the comedic genius of Mr. Orenthal James Simpson's performance in the Naked Gun movies.
Right, the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you may have also seen this Manchurian Candidate type event depicted in such films, like Reggie Jackson.
Does he I must kill the queen?
Yes. Yeah.
And then
somebody that they could create like a sleeper agent.
And then at the very end, Priscilla Presley's like, I must kill Frank Drebin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they got shut down. Frank Drebin is just too competent. It's too real. They can't get to him.
The CIA also wanted to train Chinese Americans to become agents and then go back to China to spy.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Red China. China. Tell me some of the goals of the program. Okay, more goals. This is what the government was after with this research and testing here. They were looking for materials which will cause temporary or permanent brain damage and loss of memory.
Materials.
Yeah, drugs.
Mm-hmm. Serums.
Mm-hmm. Physical methods of producing shock and confusion over extended periods of time and capable of surreptitious use.
What's surreptitious mean?
Sneaky.
Okay.
Substances which produce physical disablement, such as paralysis of the legs, acute anemia, or other shit. Substances which alter personality structure in such a way the tendency of the recipient to become dependent upon another person is enhanced.
Needs to be told how to get up, walk, take steps, turn right. Yeah.
I suppose another interpretation of that sentence might be addiction itself. They might be encouraging addictions. Like, if you don't get the shit that you can only get from me, maybe that's it too. But I think you're probably closer to the bullseye than I am on that definition.
They were into every different kind of way of doing this process, right?
Oh yeah, they were investigating chemicals, biological sources, chemicals. Oh, I already said that.
Biological?
Yeah, biological.
What about chemicals?
Also chemicals. Okay. Don't forget biological methods.
What about radiological? Boom, just switch gears.
Yeah, they were doing that too. They were fucking irradiating people.
They're trying to make Incredible Hulk. They're throwing gamma at him.
Yeah, like an Incredible Hulk that you could mind control.
Hulk, go smash that.
And those physical methods, those generally involve torture, sometimes of a sexual variety.
Like tickling with a feather to death?
No.
Candle wax on the nipples to death?
Trying to rape somebody into insanity.
Oh my God. I'm not laughing at the poor situation. I'm laughing at Brad didn't ever give me a heads up on that. Whew, our producer's looking at Brad and frowning.
Well, one of the most prominent aspects of the program, though, was the lysergic acid diethylamide, commonly known as LSD.
Thank you.
Acid. In insanely high doses.
Sid.
Against their will, to mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, prostitutes. Many people just straight up abducted off the street for this purpose. And the kind of wacky, whimsical part of this is that they also fucked around in-house.
Their own employees, co-workers?
Yeah, they regularly dosed other CIA employees, military personnel, doctors, other government agencies, and also just regular people out minding their business for the day.
Dude, one time, it was like 8th grade, we freaking put acid in our teacher's coffee, watched what she'd do. It was pretty awesome.
Did you just be real groovy all day?
No, we just started talking to her, but we would cut our voice in and out. We're like, what? Like, what's going on? She started throwing up. It was a prank. It was just a gag. It's just 3 hits.
Yeah, so one of the things you have to remember, I think, about this is, maybe even if you have not taken LSD, you're likely aware of the drug and its effects on you. So if it started happening to you, you might be able to be like, oh, holy shit, I think somebody maybe have slipped me something, because you're aware of drugs that do this to you.
You're like, who do I owe $20?
Yeah. I just found this little piece of paper with a picture of Bart Simpson on it and put it in my mouth for some reason. Now I'm having a great time.
I bet you nowadays there's like Trump heads or something, like, you know what I mean?
I think you have to be kind of groovy to do acid. I don't know how many Trump supporters are like hippies.
No, I think they just do like topical shit. Like okay, maybe take it back. Maybe go like
SpongeBob,
Hello Kitty. Yeah,
probably. Well, yeah, but people then in the 1950s, nobody even knew that there were drugs that had these effects. They weren't aware of it. So, I mean, if you could imagine just being on an acid trip and having no idea that acid even exists, that would be probably, frankly, terrifying, right?
Yeah, that would be fucking crazy. I've never taken acid ever. And
Me neither.
I love hearing stories. They fascinate me. People's stories. Like someone I know would have a trip where like a little Martian would be flying around in a cartoon Jetsons type of UFO thing with cartoon puffs of smoke behind it. Like, this is pretty fucking sweet. Like that's the kind I would hope I would get. But then there's like, the wall is melting. Like, get me out of here.
All I ever think of whenever anybody thinks of acid is for some reason the one, like Mamas and Papas songs where it's like, all the leaves are brown.
Yeah.
And the sky is gray.
And it slows down. You're like, like, what happened? It was a beautiful song. The sky is gray. Destruction.
Or like Mitch, I like Mitch Hedberg's description when he's like, you see a lot of really sharp colors and you hear a lot of noises that sound like car horns.
Whew, okay. LSD and the fun effects. I'm just kidding. LSD's dangerous. Do not do LSD. If you do, videotape yourself.
No, yeah.
Send it to us.
Yeah, so after they would get dosed, they would surveil the victims of this in order to study their reactions, in order to try and adjust their formulas and see what they need to do to create brain slaves.
Dahmer was like, I got a drill and some acid I pour in their skull. Didn't work, but that's my Dahmer.
Same spirit, really. I think they're operating under the same spirit. Well, so one CIA agent had a bad trip, dosed, didn't have any idea what was going on, and he ran screaming through downtown Washington, D.C., screaming that he saw monsters in every single car that was around.
They're like, freaking calm down, Bob. It's Halloween, you asshole.
Yeah.
Mellow out. Enjoy it. Try to enjoy it, Bob.
Yeah, just relax some.
Would you put in my coffee, man?
Oh, that's funny as hell. Now, somebody else had it even worse. Army scientist Dr. Frank Olson was dosed, and not even being aware of the testing program himself or the existence of LSD or its effects, as you may understand, started to believe he was losing his mind.
So what did he do? He just went and took a nap?
Nope. He threw himself from a 13th floor window, killing himself.
Oh, that.
Now, at this point, you might be wondering, it's a tragedy like that would
shut down the program. Shut it down. MKUltra, shut it down.
Surely this is going to be a short episode because it's over now.
We've gone too far.
The United States, they would never push past a death like that.
The end.
Not even close. You know, the testing continued after that, didn't even slow down. And I think some of the people involved found this event to be hilarious.
Can you believe what Olson did? What? What did he do? I wasn't around. Oh my God, dude threw himself out the window, man. There was a
took a total header, 13 stories.
So is the project over then? No, we just stepped it up. Actually,
pretty good data on that.
We're gonna start abducting children now.
Well, you know what it's time for now?
Oh yeah, we're Dinner in Hell going deep.
Dinner in Hell
going deep.
Project MKUltra resulted in the development of what is called a super hallucinogen. If LSD is a hallucinogen, this is a super hallucinogen.
Holy shit.
Now, it was called BZ, or Buzz for short. That was in USA cluster bombs until 1989, when chemical weapons were dismantled. Now, there was a plan developed in 1964 to use the drug to incapacitate an entire trawler. And I'm not joking, but that project was codenamed Project Dork.
Dork. Freaking dork. Hey, did you ever see Jacob's Ladder?
No.
Oh, dude, yeah. It starts off with the whole platoon's like eating their food and shit and just hanging out. And all of a sudden, they start getting a little bit crazy. They, like Vietnam, drugged up a platoon without them knowing.
Oh, they tested all kinds of shit on those people.
Yeah, that's what this sounds like, is these loaded buzz bombs. But Project Dork, you said? Dork?
Yes, Project Dork. D-O-R-K.
I always thought Project Dork was where they snuck into the comic book store and they put deodorant on all the Magic the Gathering tournament players.
No. You're thinking that Project Dork is when a bunch of people really wanted to be in fraternities, but they were denied because they weren't cool. They weren't on the football team. They liked calculators.
Okay.
They played the violin.
This is 80s era type.
Yeah, I believe this Project Dork took place in the mid-1980s, and they couldn't be let alone. They just wouldn't let them have their own fraternity.
I think I saw a documentary on this. Was there a man named Booger involved?
Yes. Yeah, okay, you are aware of this.
He was one of the dorks, right?
Yeah, he was, in fact, one of the victims of Project Dork. This other Project Dork.
That's one of my favorite Stephen King movies.
LSD, not the only drug they used in testing either. Other drugs that were tested, which appear to be a variety of fun or not.
Aspirin.
Aspirin, I don't think, was in the mix specifically. We're talking
Robitussin.
Heroin, morphine, temazepam, mescaline.
Oh, this is awesome. It's getting better. Keep going.
Psilocybin.
Chris Farley's rolling around his grave right now. He can't stand
with
it.
John Belushi. Scopolamine. Cannabis.
What is that? Pot?
Cannabis is pot, yes.
Okay. I'm not part of pot culture.
I think scopolamine is like a barbiturate, maybe.
I don't know what that is.
A central nervous system depressant.
Okay. Alcohol?
Yep. And sodium pentothal. Truth serum.
Damn. What would if you could have any one of those right now, what would you take? Heroin? We should do the rest of the show on heroin.
I've never had heroin before.
You don't have any here?
No.
Okay, nothing happened with it. You're not carrying?
No, I have been hospitalized before though, and morphine is it's something special.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Were you running through a field of wheat in a sunny summer day, totally nude with no cares?
I think this description is lifted, but I can't remember the source. Morphine feels like getting tucked into bed by God.
Aww. I heard more heroin feels like the feeling of an orgasm multiplied by 1,000.
I think I've heard that too.
So
stay away from
drugs, you guys. Yeah. It's awful. Okay.
Unless the CIA is giving it to you without your knowledge, then it's okay.
Hey, what am I gonna do? They drugged me. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the music I created after they drugged me. It's the best shit ever. What if they went on to create, like, what if one became like David Bowie's, like, look what it did for me. Thanks, acid.
You could say,
the whole world loved his music.
I think David Bowie was into cocaine mostly, wasn't he?
I don't know. I wasn't really close with him.
Yeah, I think he had like cocaine psychosis where he thought like John Bonham or something was trying to murder him, or Jimmy Page rather.
Yeah.
He thought Jimmy Page was like a black magician who was constantly trying to murder him.
It's got that look. It looks like a freaking black magician.
Yeah, he said there was a demon in his pool one time. Because if you take enough cocaine, you go insane. Did you know that?
And your nose bleeds.
Yeah, and your brain's fried. You got no middle of your nose no more.
Hypnosis was another favorite area of testing.
Oh, yes. They were on that. Now, oftentimes this would be used in conjunction with the drugs in an attempt to create anterograde and retrograde amnesia. They wanted amnesia they could control. So, like, they could have Reggie Jackson shoot the queen and then immediately forget he even did it. So if he got interrogated about it, he wouldn't have any answers.
And for our conspiracy fans out there that are tuning in, you're probably thinking about that boy that shot up the theater from the Joker Batman movie.
James Holmes?
People are like, that guy did no freaking prior offenses. He just came in and did it. Like, Vegas shooting. No one could believe it.
Now, moving along, let's talk about something called Operation Midnight Climax.
Sounds hot.
This
is the safe houses and stuff in San Fran and New York.
Yes. Yeah. The CIA operatives, specifically
George Hunter White,
opened a series of brothels.
Network.
Eventually all the way around the world, but primarily in San Francisco and in Greenwich Village in New York City.
You say brothel, I think like safe house. Like, I don't think it was known as a brothel. It was a place where the prostitutes could be sent out, lure people back to, close the door, safe to do whatever they want. Like, I don't think it was like, can I get a woman? Like, you couldn't just knock on the door.
Yeah, well, some of them you could.
And I think other agents that were traveling could stay the night there.
Yeah, some of them were open to the public, and some of them were
really?
Not. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like underground, like under dark, seedy places.
Yeah,
like, come on in.
They would get a lot of their fellow agents as customers. They were often near army bases, so you see a lot of army people coming in, stuff like that. Now, what they would do is they would hire local prostitutes to dose the Johns. And the CIA would then watch them have sex and record the reactions as the John would trip through a two-way mirror.
They would videotape it.
Yeah, they would videotape them. Yeah, if it was like a lower class dude or like not a mover and shaker who came in, great. Nobody will listen to his account of being like dosed. But the upper class ones, the government agents who would stumble in or get lured there, they would blackmail.
When I said videotape them, I'd like to retract that, just because I think they videotaped the ambassadors and shit that they would
for
run
the
this game with.
Yeah,
the blackmail ones, but like the regular people, because back then in like 55.
Video
they're running like 8mm film reel to reel, like they're not videotaping. So it must have been special high up shit, like you said.
Yep. And also in another moment of whimsy, the CIA was also apparently running a novelty company, as they used the San Francisco brothel to test stink bombs, itching and sneezing powders, and diarrhea inducers.
God damn it, now they've gone too far. These freaking CIA going to my town, opening up a novelty store selling stink bombs.
Like one of the MKUltra experiments they were running is like, all right, we'll see if we can drive this guy insane by every time we shake his hand, we have one of those little buzzers up.
We'll give this guy mint gum, but it's really black licorice. And his mouth will turn black like Pee-wee.
He's going to think that he's going to smell a delightful smelling flower. Stream of water. See this? Right in the face.
That's right. It never fails.
I believe that's where the whoopee cushion was invented.
Like this guy, they trip him, they dose him with like 3 hits of acid. He's flying on acid. Then they're like, put him in the whoopee cushion room. And it's just nonstop. Could you imagine that? If you just had a room full of whoopee cushions nonstop on acid, all the noise.
That'd be a wild 5 minutes.
Until they're all out.
Yeah. Then it would just be a weird room full of empty, weird little rubber bladders. Now, one such victim, a Deputy United States Marshal, Wayne Ritchie, who was dosed at the brothel, I don't know what was going on in his mind, but he stumbled out of there and committed an armed robbery on a bar.
That's right. He had no other... Previous to that, he was fine.
Yeah, I mean, as far as law enforcement goes in the United States, the U.S. Marshals are, well-esteemed organization.
Yeah. He ended up getting sentenced for like 15 years probation. He actually was guilty, and he had to be on his record. It wasn't like they were like, no, he was MKUltra, let this shit slide. No, he was charged.
Yeah, they're just like laughing about it in the back, like behind closed doors at the CIA.
Wayne Ritchie.
Now, another, perhaps the most prominent testing area for the MKUltra is pretty metal. It's called Ravenscrag. That's just like a band from Sweden.
Oh, I got the drummer from Entombed. Let's Soul Killer, bro.
I think that was their original name before Amon Amarth. Ravenscrag.
Ravenscrag.
Now, see, this place where a lot of the testing was done was in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, under the direction of one Dr. Ewan Cameron. Now, this wasn't just like a random psychiatrist. This guy was like extremely well-renowned within his field.
The CIA chose him because of what he had been up to this point. They're like, we like the way this guy works.
Yeah, he was already working on attempting to induce amnesia in his patients. Mm-hmm. And he thought that would cure schizophrenia somehow.
He's trying to use his powers for good?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. CIA is like, forget about the good shit, man. Yeah. We're doing bad shit down here.
Mm-hmm. And a technique that he was using, the CIA wanted to adopt, called psychic driving. What this was an attempt to break down or destroy the subject's memory and personality, replacing it with a tailor-made personality and memories, creating someone who could be completely programmed from scratch.
How could you even do that?
Well,
that's insane.
Let's see what Dr. Cameron, what his tactics were. Now, perhaps most bizarrely, he was able to achieve some success in this. The following methods were what he employed in order to try and wipe the personality. The use of intense electrical shocks.
Car battery clipped to the ears.
Well, he just used the regular electroshock.
Oh, the medical ones.
If you'll remember from our discussion on mental illness throughout history, electroshock therapy is, therapeutic.
People use it today and it helps people.
Yeah, it totally helps.
A little zap. Yeah, they put you in a little coma. Then they zap your brain. You wake up. You're like, I don't want to smoke anymore. And I want to go out of the house.
And I'm not shaking with a seizure.
Yeah. I can look people in the eye again.
Yeah, electroconvulsive therapy is a very valid therapy. It helps people. However, Dr. Cameron was doing it, 3 times as often as a therapeutic amount and at 2 or 3 times the intensity that's therapeutic.
He would put the victim in the tub of water. He would put the toaster in the tub and plug it in for long periods of time.
Yeah, he was fucking jacking these people full of electrons. It was messed up. And he would do it for, 3 times the duration that it would usually be done for. Usually it's kind of quick hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would just fry them.
Give him 60 seconds.
Yeah, like
60?
Real crazy
You're
shit.
crazy. What?
Light them up.
Yeah.
On top of getting your brain fried by all that juice, you would be forced to listen to a repetitive verbal signal for 16 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Something cool like, I love you. You're gorgeous. Something nice?
No. This would usually be a negative verbal repetition. I mean, we're talking the 50s here, so this sounds bizarre to me. But evidently this was something that he thought would be effective to
you got the message?
Provide negative reinforcement.
You got one of the messages?
I have one of them, yeah.
Shit, what is it?
One such message for female subjects was, you let your mother check you up sexually after every date you had with a boy.
Open your mouth. Open your mouth wide. Lift up your tongue. Okay. Not a drip. Okay, now drop them. Drop your trousers. Okay. No hickeys on your neck. Okay. You pass. You may go into your room now and go get yourself ready for bedtime.
Yeah, but one weird negative sentence repeated over and over again, 16 hours a day, every day, while you are in otherwise total sensory deprivation. You can't see anything. You can't hear anything else. You're immobilized. You can't move. No smell. No, nothing ever changes. You're just completely still hearing that over and over and over again for 16 hours, double shift.
You probably cathetered up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're not moving. You're not nothing.
Yeah, I will never say that word on this show again. But yeah, that's probably happening. You're probably all tubed up. You don't leave the chair.
Yeah, I mean, on top of this, sometimes he would put patients in drug-induced comas for up to 10 days.
Party.
For no medical reason.
I'm talking, hey. Is this one, like when you look at the back of like the local paper, it'll be like, university looking for people to do sleep study on, blah, blah, blah. You'll be paid for your time. Mm-hmm. You ever seen that shit? That's probably did that back then, like Montreal University, like looking for people to experiment psychedelic drugs on. We're going to strap you to a chair.
Yeah, when I first went to college and I took a psychology class, you had to sign up for 2 like experiments every semester for the psychology department. You don't have a choice. You have to.
Wow.
Yeah, the ones I did were like surveys generally. You go down to some room, fill out a survey, that's it. But
you weren't subjected to like gamma rays?
Not that I recall. But if they can really induce amnesia, how the fuck would I know?
What if you got gamma and they remove that part of you? You don't realize until you hear the key trigger words.
I'll just be waiting until I can turn into the Incredible Hulk, like I have been for my entire life.
The trigger word is, yeah, right. You think I'm going to say that? I'm not prepared. I'm in a small room with Brad.
Yeah, the audience is at risk.
Right. It's too much at risk here. You need to go out in an open field and say it.
Now, the guidelines above aren't even always necessarily how things went down, as Dr. Cameron was more than willing to go to extreme measures to get his results. Now, one woman, deemed a failure by Dr. Cameron, was subjected to the sensory deprivations and repetitions for 136 straight days.
God.
4 months.
You know, when you get out of that, you can't like walk. Your motor skills are all messed up.
Yeah, you are not normal.
You have to like learn how to walk again. What day is it? Did I miss the Super Bowl? What happened? You're asleep.
What year is it?
You've had 4 colds. You had the flu. The good news is you had your flu already, so you were asleep for it.
Could you imagine all the people waking up from comas right now that have to have explained to them that Donald Trump is president of the United States?
Like they're out for the last time they were awake. They got in a car accident like the night after like Celebrity Apprentice like debuted.
Yeah.
They're like, can you imagine that guy as your boss? I can't imagine that guy as my boss. But could you imagine being president? Fuck, what are you talking about? Yeah, you're talking about TV show hosts.
Yeah.
Then he gets in a car accident, wakes up, is like, what?
So the other aspect of the torture was the forced sleep, the drug-induced comas. Now, this was designed to get the new teachings in. Repetition supposed to get your old life out. The drug-induced sleep is supposed to hammer home your new like instructions. In 10 days, sometimes the lenient sentence. One victim was put into a 65-day coma.
God damn it. Oh my God.
I mean, you're talking about the patients, how fucked up they would be after being subjected to this kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't walk. Like, basically, the way they were described was like a room full of fucked up toddlers. Having these drugs in them constantly, like, it really fucked their shit up. But even through that, they knew to avoid a place called the sleep room.
Shit.
This was where the worst of the experiments would take place. And, they're barely functional, but even they knew to fear that room. If they had to walk past it, they would, slide by with their backs against the opposite wall because they're terrified somebody would come out and just grab them and pull them in.
Yep.
USA.
Did you... Okay. There's the podcast friends show of ours, Video Store Rewind. Incredible show. So when they do their episodes on a nostalgic 80s movie and then they talk about it and discuss it from front beginning to end, I imagine they all watch it that week before they do the show.
Yeah.
What I am lucky enough for, since I'm on Dinner in Hell, I watch all the fucking YouTube and shit that I can possibly watch in my free time. From Dahmer, I watched his whole court thing. I watched victim stories. So for MKUltra, I watched the woman that was rescued by the CIA agent. Did you?
I haven't heard about this.
She wrote a book. He was working for the CIA. He discovered her. She was used as an agent. And she even had a daughter he rescued her and her daughter. And her daughter's still in an institution. She's not out with normal people. She's fucked up.
Yeah, these people are fucked up. They are not okay after this.
Yeah, I might have said hello conspiracy listeners in the beginning of the show, but these are all things that really happen.
Yeah,
we're not. No one's wondering if this happened.
We're not speculating about anything we've said today. That's from internal CIA documents.
So the woman of the videos that I watched, she's from Muskegon. Her father had
beautiful area.
Yeah, it's actually Muskegon Heights is the number 2 most crime city in Michigan, I think, of last year. It's crazy. And when I found that out, I was in Muskegon. I'm like, what's the number 1 crime cities in Michigan? It was like Muskegon Heights. I'm like, what? I'm in Muskegon. But so this woman's from Muskegon. This is back in the day. Her father got arrested, was busted selling videos of him abusing her, child porn, by mail. He was selling these by mail. Yeah,
Jesus.
And so he got busted, right? And I think he was also in the Navy, or he was some kind of military connection officer. Well, the CIA MKUltra came to him, was like, "Look, bro, we'll fricking drop all that shit, clear it all off your record if you give us your daughter for this project." He's like, peace, daughter.
God damn.
Gave her up to them. They did all this shit to her. She was subject to rituals and shit. Real weird, fucked up shit.
I mean, she was able to rebound her acting career, though. We talked about 50 First Dates. We talked about
Drew Barrymore. Don't, please. This is serious. This is goddamn serious.
That's real. The Drew Barrymore thing is not a connection. I was joking, just to clear that up.
So the whole thing was that they wanted to use children victims of abuse and trauma. Those were, because while the act is happening to the child's when someone's raped, their mind just leaves them and they go to a different place mentally.
Yeah, they dissociate.
That's exactly what they want to do here, is to make a separate world of this person's mind and then use that world to take over their. Oh my God, it's MKUltra, you guys. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So they targeted children that were already freaking traumatized. Great.
Yeah. And one woman named Gail Kastner. Shit, could you imagine this? You're feeling a little depressed. You're having a hard time. You need some treatment, but it's depression,
Yeah.
So you go to the hospital to get some treatment by the psychiatrist. And I mean, from that to wind up with irreparable brain damage, being constantly institutionalized for the rest of your life, terrible problems with drug addiction and amnesia forever because you were depressed and the government got a hold of you.
Yeah, she was going there trusting medical help. Thought she's going to get some positive results.
Ruined her life.
Dude, 1993, later on, there was a freaking Pennsylvania weatherman, Phil Connors. He woke up every day claiming to be reliving the same day over and over.
Yes, this is one of the most tragic consequences of the MKUltra program.
Mr. Connors woke up every day thinking it was Groundhog's Day, poor guy.
Same day.
Over
again.
Yeah. He's like, don't you hear it? That's Sonny and Cher. You don't hear it? Tune in at 6 a.m. You'll hear it, I'm telling you. I got you, babe. All right. And back to Dinner in Hell serious talk of mind control.
Well, what happened to Dr. Cameron?
1967, Dr. Cameron eventually had a change of heart.
Yep. He renounced his research and abandoned his work. Possibly this is a coincidence. Possibly not. But he very soon after making that decision died at his home in Lake Placid, New York.
It's too bad. Freaking Frankenstein.
Yeah. Now, there's no telling how many patients didn't make it out of this alive. It had to be a good amount. I mean, as most of the records were destroyed, this is an area where, unfortunately, I can't provide you with any accurate information. But I'll just say this. There is a very conspicuous amount of unmarked graves along the old wall behind the hospital at Ravenscrag.
I wonder if they bothered with a box.
Tough to say.
So that wraps up the majority of the show, but I wanted to remember we mentioned the guy who set up the safe houses in San Fran in New York and I think DC.
Yes.
George White.
He
was a former what is now the DEA, what used to be like the Federal Narcotics Bureau or something. Mm-hmm. He worked for them. Mm-hmm. He did a really great job. They promoted him to OSS, what you talked about.
Yeah, the Office of Strategic Services.
Yep, which became kind of CIA, right?
Yep.
Or FBI. CIA.
Yeah, it turned into the CIA eventually, yeah.
So he was wild. Like he took his power of like work with the CIA. Mm-hmm. Like they reported like at these brothels, these safe houses, with a two-way mirror while the Johns were drugged by the prostitute with LSD and they'd observe him having sex.
Yeah.
This guy had like pictures of martinis. Is that possible? Martinis in a pitcher?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, this dude would keep pictures of martinis in the fridge there like all the time. It was like party house. Like this dude loved it, sitting behind this two-way mirror. Can only imagine what's going on with this guy keeping his hands to himself. I don't know. He's probably got LSD prostitutes in there with him. This dude was an animal. One time, they were somewhere in Canada, and they're in a restaurant. Men had to meet with him.
Yeah.
And he was talking to one of the guys, and this waiter was trying to get his attention to get his order and stuff, and like, I think he like tapped him on his shoulder or something. This dude, George White, pulls out a gun, sticks it in the guy's face, and is like, had a gun in this waiter's face, like, shut the fuck up, like I'm talking to my friend. Like, it was a packed restaurant. This guy's
a
nuts.
Fucking wild man.
So he was like all into running these safe houses. He got off on it.
Yeah, he was having a great time.
I got one more thing about this George White. Mm-hmm. Jack Ruby.
Yeah.
He was, what was he?
I believe that was Lee Harvey Oswald's assassin.
Yeah. Jack Ruby was picked up and hauled in for interrogation and then later let off the hook by none other than George White. George White was the person that like interrogated him. He can go.
Hey, did you kill Lee Harvey Oswald? Yeah. No, you didn't. Have a nice day.
You sure about that? You sure
I thought Jack Ruby got like a prison sentence for shooting him.
Maybe, I don't know, but that's the notes I got. I don't know.
Well, I know he has a quote that I think perfectly ties everything together all in the end, doesn't he, Ron?
Just before he died, he wrote in a letter. This is an excerpt from it. Mm-hmm. It was fun, fun, fun. Where else could a red-blooded American boy lie, kill, and cheat, steal, deceive, rape, and pillage with the sanction and blessing of the All-Highest? That's my George White.
Nice. I think that's pretty accurate. So it reminds me of, and he reminds me of the guy from The Simpsons that's always shooting his guns off into the air, the like Texan cowboy guy.
Well, thank you. I've never watched that show. I've never heard of The Simpsons before, but thank you.
It's a fine program.
Thank you. I think I'm going to talk like this the rest of the episode. Well, I kind of like it.
Conveniently.
Yeah.
The episode's over.
Oh, shit.
That's right. That's the end of Dinner in Hell for this week. Thank you to this audience.
We're on so many social media formats.
Yeah, we're on Friendster,
Live Journal,
LinkedIn,
News Herald Classifieds,
Dead Journal,
Facebook,
Craigslist, allegedly.
Yelp, Glassdoor.
If you really want to get at us, Twitter's a good place.
Just go to Twitter.
Yeah, we're at Dinner and Hell Pod. You could always email us, dinnerandhellpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, you name it. We're on everything. All the weird podcast apps.
Pod Shark,
Podzilla,
Pod Reaper,
Pod Nugget,
Pod Pepper,
Podtacular.
3 P's in a podcast bonanza. That's a long one, but it's effective.
Yeah. Yeah, well, anywhere. Google us. We out here. Thank
Audience.
you very much.
Thanks, BT.
Good night. Pod Nugget. Pod Rapist.
Pod Fondler,
Pod Diddler.
Uncle Podcast, Uncle Podcaster,
Podly.
Chester the Podcaster,
Anti-pod establishmentarianism.
Anti-pod, Anti-podcast establishmentarianism. Oh, fuck, that was a good one.
Pods are us.
Podcast sulfate.
Pod save the queen.
Podterra.
That actually sounds like it fucking would be one.
Welcome to Podterra. We have many different programs on this channel. You might enjoy the new Dinner in Hell as a featured program for the month of December 2017.
I believe it's pronounced program.
Right. So thanks for joining us here on Podterra. We'll be talking about Southern metal in a moment. After that, we're going to speak a little bit about mind control with Brad the Impaler and his co-host partner of the Dinner in Hell program, Mr. Ron Maiden. Yeah, hi, thank you, hi. Let me get started and ask you one question, BT. Got a question for you. Name